Hey guys, Caesar here. And you may not know this, but I'm actually the third Caesar in my family, after my grandfather and father. And that makes me a third, not a junior, because my parents were smart enough not to give us the same middle name. And my son, who I also named Caesar, is the fourth. And he's committed to producing Caesar 5 on his watch. And now that he's married, I think we're getting a little closer, okay? Now, growing up in my family, since my dad was called Caesar by everyone, my parents and grandparents and cousins and all took to calling me by my middle name, Frank. Okay, or actually Frankie is what they call me. In fact, everyone in my extended family still does call me Frankie, except for one cousin who I went to school with, because we were in the same grade, so she called me Caesar. Now, I'm Uncle Frank to many, and I'm Frankie to my sisters and folks still to this day. So, when I was 5 years old, my mother walks me over to register for kindergarten. Okay, so she fills out some papers there and forms, and then the registration lady leans over the counter and she says to me, "What do you want to be called in school?" And she was asking me which of my names she should put down on the form, right? But my 5-year-old brain was on a different planet. And when she asked me a second time, "What do you want to be called?" I proudly spoke up and I said to her, "Just call me Batman." Okay? See, Batman was my secret and true identity that hardly anyone knew about at that point. But I was ready to come out, so to speak, okay? My mom about fell over, and she never let me forget that day. Now, of course, registration lady would not put Batman down in my records, so I chose to be called Caesar. And that's what everyone other than my immediate family has called me ever since. Being a Caesar in my family, and now having a son called Caesar, has been an important bond, and it's been an important part of our story and my own identity. Now, lots of different things like this go into making up who we are and how we kind of view ourselves, right? Our identity. The things that make up our identity is also where we derive our self-worth and our value from. Things like our family heritage, our bodies, body image, our skills, our jobs and accomplishment, what others think of us. But here's the kicker in all this. Our true identity actually comes from someone amazing, our Creator God, who always does what is good and right and perfect. And the Bible teaches that He created you and me perfectly in His image. And that's a big deal. So even more, after He created the first humans, Adam and Eve, He looked at them and He said, "This is really, really good." And that's exactly how He views you and me too. When God looks at you, He's thinking, "I'm crazy about this gal. I love this guy right here. I made him exactly the way I want him, and it's really good." You know, recently I found this shirt that I just had to have, and it reads, "Always be yourself unless you can be Batman. And then always be Batman." It's pretty awesome, right? But guess what? You can always be yourself, knowing that you were created in God's own image, uniquely showing off a little part of what He's like. Now, if, like me, you've been trying to go about your life often living up to someone else's standard or trying to create an identity for yourself, the next best time to believe what God says is true about you is now. Thanks for watching.